Diplomat Lennox gasped in horror as he studied the classified military report. Humans, the only civilization with ships dedicated entirely to warfare, had just breached the outer defenses of Norcadia. The implications sent chills down his spine. How could an intelligent species devote so many resources to building weapons of destruction? Lennox wondered aloud, his eyes wide with disbelief. The holographic display before him showcased the formidable human fleet, gargantuan battlecruisers bristling with railguns, sleek carriers disgorging swarms of fighter craft, and nimble destroyers darting between the behemoths like deadly vipers. In contrast, the Norcadian ships were elegant and streamlined, their hulls adorned with intricate artwork celebrating the unity and cooperation that had allowed their civilization to flourish for millennia. Not a single Norcadian vessel was equipped with offensive weaponry. Their technology was geared towards exploration, diplomacy, and defense. As the Norcadian High Council convened an emergency session, Lennox found himself tasked with a critical mission: establish peaceful relations with the United Earth Alliance and uncover the motivations behind their aggressive posturing. Failure could spell disaster for both civilizations. Meanwhile, on Earth, a similar meeting unfolded in the halls of the UEA headquarters. Isaac Roberts, a young and idealistic diplomat, listened intently as his superiors outlined his assignment. He was to journey to Zephyria, a Norcadian colony world, and negotiate an alliance while gathering intelligence on their advanced propulsion technology. Isaac's mission was complicated by the rising tide of xenophobia sweeping across Earth. Nationalist groups like Earth First stoked the flames of fear and hatred, demanding that humanity assert its dominance over the alien threat. As Isaac boarded the UES Endeavour, the crown jewel of Earth's mighty armada, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was sailing into uncharted waters. Two diplomats, two civilizations, one destiny. As Lennox and Isaac navigated the treacherous currents of interstellar politics, they would soon discover that the greatest threat to peace lay not in the weapons of war, but in the hearts and minds of those who wielded them. The fate of two worlds hung in the balance, and time was running out. As Isaac settled into his quarters on Zephyria, a chime at the door interrupted his thoughts. He opened it to find a striking Norcadian woman with piercing emerald eyes and a lab coat draped over her slender frame. "Diplomat Roberts, I am Dr. Zara Vexus. We need to talk." Isaac invited her in, intrigued by the urgency in her voice. Zara wasted no time getting to the point. "Our colony is in trouble. Resources are running low, and some of my people are growing desperate." She fixed him with an intense gaze. "There's a faction led by a man named Malik who believes stealing your warship technology is the answer." A chill ran down Isaac's spine as he absorbed the implications. If Malik succeeds, it could spark a war between our species. Zara nodded grimly. "Precisely. We must stop him before it's too late." Isaac leaned forward, drive etched on his face. "Tell me everything you know." Light years away on Earth, Lennox found himself in a heated exchange with Admiral Victor Ramsey. The human's face was flushed with anger as he jabbed a finger at the Norcadian diplomat. "Your kind can't be trusted. I bet you're here to spy on us, to find weaknesses you can exploit." Lennox held up his hands in a placating gesture. "Admiral, I assure you that my intentions are purely peaceful. We have no desire for conflict with humanity." Ramsey scoffed. "Save your lies for someone who'll believe them." He stormed out of the room, leaving Lennox shaken. A moment later, a woman in a crisp military uniform entered. "Don't mind Victor. He's always been a hot-headed xenophobe." She extended a hand. "General Evelyn Saunders, retired. I'm here because I believe in your mission, Diplomat Lennox." Lennox clasped her hand, relief washing over him. "Thank you, General Saunders. It's good to know I have an ally in this." Back on Zephyria, Isaac and Zara huddled over a holodisplay, reviewing security footage from the UES Endeavour. "There," Zara pointed to a blurry figure. "That's one of Malik's agents. They're trying to hack into your ship's systems." Isaac's face hardened. "We need to stop them before they steal any sensitive data." Zara's fingers flew over the controls, tracing the signal. "I've located their base. It's in a remote sector of the colony." Isaac met her gaze, a flicker of hesitation in his eyes. "Zara, if we do this, We'll be going against both of our governments. She placed a hand on his arm, her touch electric. I know, but if we don't act, millions could die in a war that neither of our peoples wants. Isaac nodded, commitment hardening his features. Then let's go. They arrived at the hidden base under the cover of darkness. Zara cracked the security codes and they slipped inside, pulses racing. The corridors were eerily quiet as they made their way towards the central control room. Suddenly, a voice rang out behind them. Hold it right there. They spun around to see Commander Thorne and a squad of Norcadian security forces, weapons trained on them. Malik emerged from the shadows, a triumphant smirk on his face. Well, the human diplomat and the traitor scientist. You've saved me the trouble of hunting you down. Isaac stepped forward, his voice steady. Malik, what you're doing will lead to war. Is that what you want? To see your people slaughtered in a conflict with Earth? Malik's eyes flashed with anger. What I want is for the Norcadians to take our rightful place as the dominant species in the galaxy. And if we have to crush humanity to do it, so be it. Zara's voice cut through the tension. You're insane. Stealing their technology won't save our colony. It will destroy it. Malik leveled his gun at her. Enough. You've both outlived your usefulness. Time seemed to slow as Isaac and Zara exchanged a charged glance. In that moment, a wordless understanding passed between them. They had to trust each other, to put aside their differences and fight for the greater good. As one, they sprang into action, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The future of both their worlds depended on it. Isaac's mind raced as he faced down the barrel of Malik's gun. Tension crackled in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. Suddenly, Zara's voice pierced the silence. Wait, there's something you need to see. Malik's eyes narrowed. Another trick? No trick, Zara said, her voice steady. It's about our history, both of our histories. She pulled out a small holographic projector, activating it with trembling fingers. A star map flickered to life, filling the room with an eerie blue glow. Strange symbols and coordinates danced across the projected image. Commander Thorne leaned forward, his curiosity piqued. What is this? An ancient star map, Isaac explained, catching on to Zara's plan. It predates both our civilizations. It could lead us to technology beyond our wildest dreams. Malik's grip on his weapon loosened slightly. Go on. Isaac took a deep breath. We propose a truce. Let's investigate this together. What we find could change everything, for both our peoples. Tense seconds ticked by as Malik considered the offer. Finally, he lowered his gun. Fine, but one wrong move and you're both dead. As they prepared for their journey, light years away on Earth, another drama unfolded. Admiral Ramsey paced the war room, his face flushed with anger. We must strike now, he bellowed, before the Norcadians can... Before they can what, Victor? General Saunders interrupted, her voice cool and measured. Defend themselves? Lennox stood beside her, grateful for her support, but their alliance was about to face its greatest test. A young officer burst into the room, his face pale. General, we've discovered a spy. It's Marcus Levine. He's been feeding information to Earth first. The room erupted into chaos. As security dragged away the struggling Marcus, Lennox caught a glimpse of pure hatred in the young man's eyes. The Norcadian diplomat felt a chill run down his spine. The situation was unraveling faster than he could have imagined. Back on the UES Endeavor, Isaac, Zara, and Commander Thorne plotted a course to the coordinates on the ancient map. The ship hummed with nervous energy as it plunged into uncharted space. Approaching the outer marker, the navigator announced, sensors detecting high levels of gravimetric distortion. The ship shuddered violently, alarms blaring. Through the view screen, Isaac watched in awe as space itself seemed to twist and warp around them. Hold on, Thorne shouted as the Endeavor was buffeted by unseen forces. When the turbulence finally subsided, a desolate world loomed before them. Its surface was scarred with the unmistakable wounds of orbital bombardment. My God, Zara whispered as they touched down. What happened here? They made their way through the ruins of a once great city. Toppled skyscrapers and shattered monuments told a tale of unimaginable destruction. In what appeared to be the remains of a vast archive, they found their answer. A holographic recording flickered to life, revealing the gaunt face of an alien being. Its words, translated by their computers, chilled them to the bone. "We were fools," the alien said, its voice heavy with regret. "Our weapons grew too powerful, our ambitions too great. We destroyed ourselves and nearly took the galaxy with us." As the recording continued, detailing the fall of the precursor civilization, the ground shook. Malik and his forces had caught up with them. "Hand over the archives," Malik demanded, his weapons trained on the group. Isaac and Zara exchanged a look. They had mere moments to decide the fate of two civilizations. Destroy the archives and lose this knowledge forever, or risk it falling into the wrong hands. Before they could act, Commander Thorne stepped forward. "You want the archives?" he growled. "Come and get them." In the ensuing firefight, Thorne took a blast meant for Isaac. As he fell, the human diplomat realized the choice before him was more important than ever. With Malik closing in and Thorne's life hanging in the balance, Isaac knew his next move would shape the future of human-alien relations for generations to come. Isaac's mind raced as he stared at the ancient archives. Destruction or preservation, both choices carried immense consequences. Before he could act, Commander Thorne staggered to his feet, blood seeping from his wound. "You want the archives?" Thorne growled at Malik. "Then you'll get them, and everything else." With surprising speed, Thorne lunged for a nearby control panel. His fingers flew across the alien symbols, activating a sequence Isaac couldn't comprehend. Alarms blared throughout the ruins. "What have you done?" Malik screamed, his face contorted with rage. Thorne managed a pained smile. "Ensuring you never get your hands on this technology. Now go!" Isaac grabbed Zara's arm, pulling her towards the exit. The ground shook beneath their feet as explosions rocked the ancient structure. They sprinted through crumbling corridors, narrowly avoiding falling debris. They burst into the open air just as a massive fireball engulfed the ruins. The shockwave knocked them off their feet. When the dust settled, nothing remained of the precursor archives, or Malik's forces. Breathing heavily, Isaac turned to Zara. "We need to get back to the Endeavor." They carried Thorne's lifeless body back to the ship, where they were met by a grim-faced Admiral Tanaka. "We've got trouble," Tanaka said without preamble. "Admiral Ramses staged a coup. He's mobilizing the entire UEA fleet for an assault on the Norcadian homeworld." Isaac's blood ran cold. "We can't let that happen. Show him the recordings from the ruins." Tanaka nodded, his eyes sharp. "Agreed. I'm setting a course to intercept the fleet. It's a risk, but it's our only chance to stop this madness." As the Endeavor raced through space, Isaac and Zara worked feverishly to prepare the precursor recordings for broadcast. The ship shuddered as it pushed its engines to the limit. "Fleet in visual range," the tactical officer announced. Isaac's heart pounded as he saw the massive array of human warships, poised to unleash devastation on the Norcadians. "Open a channel to all ships," Tanaka ordered, "and pray they listen." Isaac activated the broadcast, filling every screen in both fleets with the haunting image of the precursor alien. Its words echoed across space, a chilling warning of the consequences of unchecked aggression. For a moment, silence reigned. Then chaos erupted as ships began breaking formation, their crews shaken by the recording's implications. Aboard Ramses' flagship, Linux and Evelyn led a team of loyalists through the corridors, guided by Marcus Levine's inside knowledge. They fought their way to the bridge where Ramses stood shouting orders to his increasingly hesitant officers. "Stand down, Admiral," Evelyn commanded, her weapon trained on Ramses. Ramses' eyes blazed with fury. "You're throwing away humanity's chance at dominance." "No," Linux countered. "We're preserving its soul." As Ramses' loyalists surrendered, Isaac's voice crackled over the comms. "This is our chance," he said. "Not for destruction, but for a new beginning." Zara stepped forward, her voice clear and strong. "We propose a joint human-Norcadian task force to protect, not to conquer, to learn from the past, not repeat its mistakes. The bridge fell silent as the weight of the moment pressed down on all present. The future of two civilizations hung in the balance, awaiting the decision of those who had come so close to destroying it all. The bridge of Admiral Ramsay's flagship fell silent as the weight of the moment pressed upon all present. Isaac's words hung in the air, a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. A joint human-Norcadian task force, Zara repeated, her voice steady despite the tension. To protect, not to conquer. To learn from the past, not repeat its mistakes. Admiral Ramsay's face contorted with fury. You naive fools! You're throwing away our chance at... His words were cut short as Evelyn fired a stun blast, dropping him to the deck. That's quite enough, Admiral, she said, her weapon still trained on him. As Ramsay's loyalists surrendered, Isaac's comm unit crackled to life. Admiral Tanaka's voice filled the bridge. We're receiving reports from across the fleet. Ships are standing down. It seems your broadcast did the trick, Isaac. A collective sigh of relief swept through the room, but the moment of triumph was short-lived. Alarms blared as tactical screens lit up with new contacts. Sir, a young officer called out, we've got multiple ships breaking formation. They're opening fire on Norcadian positions. Isaac's blood ran cold. He locked eyes with Zara, both realizing the fragile nature of their hard-won peace. Ramsay's true believers, Lennox growled. They won't give up so easily. Over the next hours, chaos reigned. Despite Tanaka's best efforts to rein in the rogue elements, pockets of conflict erupted across the system. The precursor's warning had shaken many, but for some, the thirst for dominance ran too deep. As reports of attacks on Norcadian outposts flooded in, Isaac paced the bridge of the Endeavor. We need to do more than just react, he said, his mind racing. We need to take the fight to them. Zara nodded, her eyes blazing with persistence. I have an idea, but it's risky. She laid out a daring plan to infiltrate Ramsay's secret base, hidden on a remote asteroid. It would require a mixed team of humans and Norcadians, working in perfect harmony. It's our best chance to end this quickly, Isaac agreed, before more lives are lost. The mission came together with surprising speed. Volunteers from both species, inspired by Isaac and Zara's example, stepped forward to join the strike team. As they approached the asteroid in a stealth shuttle, Isaac studied the faces of his comrades. Humans and Norcadians, so recently mortal enemies, now united in purpose. He allowed himself a moment of hope. The moment shattered as proximity alarms screamed. We've been made, the pilot shouted. Brace for impact! The shuttle rocked violently as defensive fire from the asteroid base peppered its hull. They crash-landed in a shower of sparks and twisted metal, the impact throwing Isaac against his restraints. Ears ringing, he staggered to his feet. Everyone okay? He called out. Grunts and affirmatives answered him as the team gathered their gear. Zara appeared at his side, a thin line of green blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. So much for the element of surprise, she said with a grim smile. They emerged from the wreckage to find themselves in a cavernous hangar bay. Alarms blared as Ramsay's forces converged on their position. Move! Isaac shouted, leading the charge toward the nearest cover. The air filled with the sizzle of energy weapons as both sides opened fire. Isaac's team fought with remarkable cohesion, human and Norcadian soldiers covering each other's advances. They battled their way deeper into the base, leaving a trail of stunned and incapacitated foes in their wake. But Ramsay's forces were numerous and well-entrenched. As they neared the command center, a massive explosion rocked the facility. Debris rained down, separating Isaac and Zara from the rest of the team. We have to push on, Zara called out over the comm. The others will catch up. Isaac nodded, steeling himself for what lay ahead. They burst into the command center, weapons at the ready. Admiral Ramsay stood waiting for them, flanked by his most loyal officers. His eyes gleamed with a fanatical light. So, he sneered, the great peacemakers have come to finish what they started. It's over, Ramsay, Isaac said, his voice firm. Stand down. Ramsay's laugh was cold and bitter. Oh, it's just the beginning. In fact, it's only just begun. With lightning speed, Ramsay drew a hidden weapon. Time seemed to slow as Isaac saw the barrel swing toward him. A blur of motion, a searing flash of energy, a cry of pain. When Isaac's vision cleared, he saw Zara crumpled on the floor before him, a smoking wound in her chest. "No!" he screamed, dropping to her side. As chaos erupted around them, Zara's eyes locked onto Isaac's. Her voice was weak, but filled with urgency. "Don't let this be for nothing," she whispered. "Promise me. Promise you'll see it through. For both our peoples." Isaac clutched her hand, his heart breaking. "I promise," he choked out. With a final shuddering breath, Zara went still. Grief turned to white-hot rage as Isaac rose to face Ramsay. The Admiral's smug expression faltered as he saw the look in Isaac's eyes. "You want a war?" Isaac growled. "You've got one." He launched himself at Ramsay, their struggle a brutal, close-quarters brawl. Fists and elbows flew as they grappled, crashing into consoles and toppling equipment. Isaac felt his strength failing, Ramsay's superior size and training giving him the edge. But as the Admiral pinned him against a wall, Isaac's hand closed around a fallen weapon. A single shot rang out. Ramsay's eyes went wide with shock. He staggered back, clutching his chest, before collapsing to the floor. As Ramsay's remaining forces threw down their weapons, Isaac stood over the fallen Admiral. He was alive, but barely. "It's over," Isaac said, his voice heavy with exhaustion and grief. "For real this time." The sound of running footsteps announced the arrival of the rest of the strike team. They secured the room as Isaac sank to his knees beside Zara's body. Lennox placed a hand on Isaac's shoulder. "We received your transmission," he said softly. "The fleet is standing down. It's done." Isaac nodded, tears streaming down his face. "But at what cost?" As medical teams arrived to treat the wounded and take Ramsay into custody, Isaac cradled Zara's lifeless form. In that moment of victory and loss, he knew that the real work was just beginning. The journey back to Earth was a somber one. Isaac spent long hours in his quarters, wrestling with grief and the weight of the responsibility that now rested on his shoulders. When they finally arrived, he steeled himself for what lay ahead. The proposal for the Joint Peacekeeping Task Force would face fierce opposition from hardliners on both sides. But he was determined to see it through, to honor Zara's sacrifice and secure a lasting peace. As Isaac prepared to address the United Earth Alliance Council, he took a deep breath. The future of two civilizations hung in the balance, and he knew that his next words could shape the course of history for generations to come.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.